If the United States enters a full-blown recession, it won't just be America that suffers. From factories shutting down to currencies crashing, the ripple effects will slam dozens of nations, but for some, it won't be a ripple. It'll be a tsunami. Why? Because the U.S. economy is still the world's economic engine. When America slows down, global trade contracts, investor confidence evaporates, and commodity prices go into freefall. And there are countries so deeply tied to us trade, debt, and investment they wouldn't just wobble. They'd collapse. Today, we're counting down the 10 countries most at risk of total economic meltdown if a U.S. recession hits in 2025. From Latin America to Southeast Asia, these nations are dangerously exposed, and you won't believe who's at the top of the list. Number 10. Argentina. Argentina has been struggling with financial crises for decades, but 2025 is shaping up to be one of its worst years yet. According to Bloomberg, Argentina's inflation rate has surpassed 250%, making everyday essentials nearly unaffordable for the average citizen. One of the biggest issues is Argentina's massive national debt, which has reached a staggering $400 billion. The country has defaulted on its debt 9 times in history, and experts warn that another major default could happen soon, further crippling its already fragile economy. The Argentine peso has lost nearly all its value, forcing the government to print more money, which only worsens inflation. The situation has pushed millions of people into poverty, with food prices rising at uncontrollable rates. As economic instability continues, Argentina's government is struggling to secure foreign investments and maintain its essential services. Unless drastic measures are taken, Argentina could be headed for one of the worst financial collapses in its history. Number 9. China. China has been steadily tightening its restrictions on American travelers, citing national security concerns and deteriorating U.S.-China relations. In 2025, stricter visa policies and heightened travel restrictions are making it increasingly difficult for U.S. passport holders to enter the country. According to the U.S. State Department, China has ramped up its surveillance and visa screening processes for American visitors. One of the biggest challenges for travelers is the increased scrutiny of past travel history and digital activity. Reports suggest that authorities are reviewing visitors' social media accounts, communication records, and affiliations before approving visas. This has resulted in longer processing times and frequent visa denials for American tourists, journalists, and business travelers. The Chinese government has also expanded its use of exit bans, which prevent individuals from leaving the country due to ongoing investigations or diplomatic disputes. Some U.S. citizens traveling for business or family visits have reported being detained for questioning, further raising concerns about personal safety. With tensions between the U.S. and China remaining high, it is unclear when or if these restrictions will ease. For now, Americans hoping to explore Beijing's Forbidden City or Shanghai's skyline may need to reconsider their travel plans. Number 8. North Korea. North Korea has long been one of the most restricted and secretive countries in the world. And in 2025, the doors remain firmly shut for American travelers. Following ongoing sanctions, diplomatic standoffs, and security threats, the North Korean government has completely banned U.S. citizens from entering. According to the U.S. State Department, any American attempting to visit North Korea risks arrest, detention, and severe legal consequences. In previous years, specialized tour operators were able to secure travel permits for foreigners under strict conditions. However, due to increased political tensions and espionage concerns, North Korea has halted all American tourism and business visits. This means that even diplomatic and humanitarian travel is now heavily restricted. The situation worsened after reports of foreign detainees being used as political bargaining chips, leading to the U.S. government reinforcing its do not travel advisory. With no official U.S. embassy in North Korea, any American detained in the country has no diplomatic support or legal recourse. Unless drastic changes occur in U.S.-North Korea relations, these restrictions are likely to remain indefinitely. For now, North Korea is one of the most forbidden destinations for American travelers, with virtually no way to legally enter the country. Number 7. Turkey. Turkey's economy has been spiraling downward for years, and 2025 is shaping up to be another difficult year. According to the Financial Times, inflation in Turkey has soared past 65%, making basic necessities unaffordable for millions. The Turkish lira has lost over 70% of its value in the past 5 years, leading to skyrocketing import costs and dwindling purchasing power. One of the biggest challenges Turkey faces is its massive debt burden. The country owes hundreds of billions in foreign loans, and with interest rates climbing, servicing this debt has become increasingly difficult. Turkish businesses that rely on imported goods are struggling to stay afloat, and many have shut down, leading to mass unemployment. Another major issue is Turkey's political instability. President Recep Tayyip Erdogan's controversial economic policies, including his refusal to raise interest rates despite soaring inflation, have been widely criticized. According to Bloomberg, Turkey's financial crisis has led to major protests across the country as citizens demand government intervention. The cost of living crisis has reached new heights, with food, housing, and energy prices increasing at unprecedented rates. Many Turkish citizens are leaving the country in search of better economic opportunities, while businesses are relocating their operations to more stable economies. If Turkey does not implement major financial reforms soon, the country risks a total economic meltdown. Without international assistance and a change in fiscal policies, Turkey's economy could collapse further, leading to long-term economic suffering for its people. Number 6. Egypt. Egypt is facing one of its worst economic crises in decades, as inflation and debt continue to cripple the nation. According to Reuters, Egypt's annual inflation rate hit 38% in early 2025, with food prices doubling in just 2 years. The government has struggled to keep up with rising costs, and many Egyptians are unable to afford even the most basic necessities. A major reason for Egypt's financial troubles is its unsustainable debt. The country owes over $165 billion in external debt, and with interest rates rising, servicing this debt has become a massive challenge. In response, the Egyptian government has devalued its currency multiple times, leading to further financial hardship for its citizens. Egypt's reliance on food and fuel imports has also left it vulnerable to global market fluctuations. The war in Ukraine has worsened the country's food security, with wheat prices skyrocketing, forcing millions into poverty and hunger. According to the World Bank, nearly 35% of Egyptians now live below the poverty line, and unemployment continues to rise. The government has attempted to secure IMF loans and financial aid from Gulf nations, but these funds come with strict conditions that have angered the population. Protests have erupted across Cairo and Alexandria, with citizens demanding solutions to the economic crisis. However, government crackdowns on dissent have increased tensions, making recovery even more difficult. Unless Egypt finds a sustainable way to reduce its debt and stabilize its economy, the country faces a serious risk of default. The Egyptian people are already feeling the strain, and without urgent reforms, the economic situation could soon spiral out of control. Number 5. Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka has been teetering on the edge of financial collapse for years, and 2025 is proving to be another critical year for the nation. According to The Guardian, Sri Lanka's national debt has exceeded $90 billion, with more than 50% of its revenue being used just to pay off interest on loans. This massive debt burden has left the government with little room for economic recovery. One of the biggest contributors to Sri Lanka's crisis is its reliance on imports, particularly for fuel and food. The country has limited foreign currency reserves, making it difficult to pay for essential goods, leading to severe shortages. According to Bloomberg, fuel prices have more than doubled, and power cuts are becoming a daily reality for millions of citizens. Inflation in Sri Lanka remains alarmingly high, with food prices skyrocketing and unemployment rising. Many businesses have shut down, forcing people to seek work abroad. With a declining workforce, the country's economy has slowed dramatically, worsening poverty levels across the nation. The Sri Lankan government has attempted to secure bailout funds from the International Monetary Fund (IMF), but strict loan conditions have left many citizens frustrated. Protests against the government's handling of the crisis have become widespread, as people demand urgent economic reforms and better financial management. Without immediate financial restructuring and investment in sustainable industries, Sri Lanka's economic freefall is unlikely to stop anytime soon. The country is now at a crossroads. Will it recover, or is total financial collapse inevitable? Number 4. Nigeria. Nigeria, Africa's largest economy, is facing one of its worst financial crises in history. According to the Financial Times, inflation has surpassed 33%, making basic goods increasingly unaffordable for millions of people. Despite being rich in natural resources, Nigeria's overdependence on oil exports has left it vulnerable to global price fluctuations. One of the biggest problems Nigeria faces is government mismanagement and corruption. Billions of dollars have been lost to fraud and embezzlement, leaving the country with little to invest in infrastructure, healthcare, and education. According to Transparency International, Nigeria remains one of the most corrupt nations in Africa, with government officials misusing public funds instead of addressing economic hardships. Another issue is Nigeria's rising debt, which has tripled in the past decade. The country now owes over $100 billion, and debt repayments are consuming nearly 40% of government revenue. This has left little room for economic recovery or investment in essential services. Nigeria's security crisis is also worsening the financial situation, with ongoing conflicts involving terrorist groups like Boko Haram and armed bandits. Businesses and foreign investors are hesitant to put money into the country. The instability has led to mass migration, with thousands of Nigerians leaving for better opportunities in Europe and North America. Without serious government reforms, economic diversification, and anti-corruption measures, Nigeria risks falling further into economic despair. The nation's future remains uncertain, but without drastic change, financial collapse may be unavoidable. Number 3. Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe has been in economic turmoil for decades, and 2025 is proving to be no exception. According to Reuters, inflation in Zimbabwe has surged past 400%, making it one of the highest in the world. The Zimbabwean dollar has lost nearly all its value, forcing businesses and citizens to rely on foreign currencies like the US dollar to survive. One of the biggest challenges Zimbabwe faces is severe government mismanagement. Corruption, lack of investment, and uncontrolled money printing have all contributed to the country's financial collapse. According to the World Bank, over 60% of Zimbabwe's population now lives below the poverty line, with food shortages and high unemployment rates making everyday survival a struggle. The country's heavy reliance on agriculture and mining has also made it vulnerable to external shocks. Droughts have devastated crop yields, while international sanctions have restricted Zimbabwe's access to global markets. As a result, foreign investors have pulled out, leaving the economy even more fragile. The government has attempted to implement economic reforms, but these efforts have done little to restore financial stability. Corrupt officials continue to control much of the wealth, while ordinary citizens bear the brunt of the worsening economic crisis. Protests and civil unrest are becoming more frequent, as Zimbabweans demand urgent action from their leaders. Without drastic economic reforms and an end to political corruption, Zimbabwe is at risk of falling deeper into financial despair. Experts warn that unless the situation improves, the country may be heading toward total economic collapse. Number 2. Venezuela. Venezuela's economy has been in free fall for years, and 2025 is shaping up to be another disastrous year. According to Bloomberg, inflation has surpassed 300%, while food and medicine shortages continue to cripple the country. The Venezuelan bolivar is virtually worthless, with many citizens turning to cryptocurrencies or the US dollar for stability. One of the primary causes of Venezuela's economic crisis is mismanagement and government corruption. The socialist policies of Nicolás Maduro's regime have led to hyperinflation, collapsing industries, and widespread poverty. According to the International Monetary Fund, Venezuela's GDP has shrunk by over 75% in the past decade, making it one of the worst-performing economies in modern history. The country's heavy reliance on oil exports has also worsened its financial struggles. With oil production declining due to years of mismanagement and lack of investment, Venezuela has lost its primary source of income. U.S. sanctions have further restricted the country's ability to trade, making recovery even more difficult. Venezuela's humanitarian crisis continues to worsen, with millions of people fleeing the country in search of better opportunities. According to the United Nations, over 7.7 million Venezuelans have left since 2014, making it one of the largest migration crises in the world. Those who remain struggle with extreme poverty, crime, and food insecurity. Unless major political and economic changes occur, Venezuela's collapse seems inevitable. The government continues to control resources while ordinary citizens suffer, and experts warn that without reform, the country's financial ruin will only deepen. Number 1. Lebanon. Lebanon's economy has been in a downward spiral for years, and 2025 is proving to be its most catastrophic year yet. According to Al Jazeera, Lebanon's currency has lost over 98% of its value, and hyperinflation has made basic necessities nearly impossible to afford. Many Lebanese now rely on remittances from family abroad just to survive. One of the biggest factors in Lebanon's economic collapse is rampant government corruption and mismanagement. Billions of dollars in public funds have been misused or stolen, and government officials have failed to implement meaningful economic reforms. According to the World Bank, Lebanon's financial crisis is one of the worst seen globally since the 19th century. Lebanon is also suffering from severe shortages of electricity, fuel, and medicine, making daily life incredibly difficult for its citizens. Public services have crumbled, and with unemployment skyrocketing, millions of Lebanese are living in poverty. The ongoing refugee crisis has further strained resources, adding to the economic pressure. Without immediate international intervention and radical government reforms, Lebanon faces total economic collapse. Experts warn that unless drastic measures are taken, the country's financial ruin could last for decades, making recovery an uphill battle. From hyperinflation to crushing debt and failed leadership, these 10 nations are struggling to stay afloat in 2025. Some, like Argentina and Sri Lanka, are dealing with long-standing financial issues, while others, like Lebanon and Venezuela, are experiencing unprecedented economic disasters. The question remains, can these countries recover, or are they doomed to financial collapse? With debt rising, economies shrinking, and governments failing to act, the future looks uncertain for millions of people. Without immediate reforms and international assistance, these nations could face economic disaster for years to come. What do you think? Will any of these countries turn things around? Or are we witnessing the next wave of global economic failures? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more global insights.